All right, everybody, hello again. So, I will be introducing our first speaker of the day. Who is she? Her name is Lizzie Tan, and she is the co-founder of WACT. If you are free, if you are interested in anything, do drop by the speaker booth and see what she has to say. So, without further ado, I'll pass the stage to Lizzie.
So hello everyone, thanks for being here today, and thanks Harley for inviting me for this session as well. So I'm here actually today to talk a little bit about LinkedIn, but before we talk about LinkedIn, let me share a little bit story about myself. So this story actually happened during the pandemic, during 2020. So this was a time when everybody was stuck at home and like there were so many things going on like online, right, events and stuff. And then that was a time when I was at home getting involved in a lot of student organizations. I was still a student at the time, so I was getting involved in student organizations, doing internships, because I was just really bored. And that's when I picked up designing. I really got into designing during that time. And I was asking myself, okay, so I've been doing all this designing work. Like, what can I do to further my designing skills? So then I thought of like maybe I could start freelancing as a designer, because I was a student at the time. I was, just bored at home, nothing to do, and I had literally nothing to lose. So what I did, I reached out to my co-founder today, which is a student at the time as well, a friend of mine. So he was really into videography. So I reached out to him and say, hey, you're good at videography, I'm good at designing. Why don't we make a combo and just work together and see where this takes us? So then we started working together and we slapped on a logo that we designed in 10 minutes, which was called at the time Ashwin and Lizzie Designs, very sophisticated. And then we just started getting clients. So we started getting a lot of very small clients on different small designing projects, some on video editing, some on copywriting. And then there was this one client who really stuck with us. So we worked with him for a couple of months. And at first, it was like very small projects, a slide deck here, a poster there, just very small projects. And then one day, a few months later, he texted us saying that, hey, Ashwin and Lizzie, I've been working with you guys for a couple of months, and I really love the work that you guys do. And to be honest with you guys, I've been looking for someone to work on a long-term project with me. And that was the time we were like, wow, a long-term project. Like as students, we never thought of that. And as a first-time freelancer as well, like that was kind of like a very high praise for us. Someone who worked with us and wants to get us involved in a long-term project. So that was a time when we were very excited. So he went on to say that, I'm actually looking for someone to build my LinkedIn for me. And that was the first time I was like, huh, LinkedIn? Isn't LinkedIn like something that people use when they get into the working world and they're desperate to get a job and they don't know where to look, then they go onto LinkedIn to find a job? That was my understanding of LinkedIn at the time. I didn't have a LinkedIn account as well. So he was like, let me know if you guys are up for this and you guys can send me a proposal, see how we can work together. And I discussed with Ashwin. And then we were like, you know what, let's do it and see where this takes us. We have literally nothing to lose as students. So we spent 3 whole days signing up for LinkedIn. We didn't even have a LinkedIn account at the time, signing up and then getting onto LinkedIn, understanding the platform, seeing what features are there, what people are posting, what people are talking about. And we spent those 3 days to come with a proposal with the client. So we pitched it to him. He was like, oh my God, this is literally what I want. Just tell me what we can do next and let's hit the ground running. So we signed for a 1-year deal. So it was actually a really long-term project. We signed for a 1-year deal, working on his LinkedIn, 2 people who knew nothing about LinkedIn. So that was the time that we really spent a lot of time studying on LinkedIn. And about 3 months into the project, we actually managed to get him a very nice LinkedIn profile, and we got out a lot of content for him as well. And then 6 months later, people started noticing his LinkedIn. Of course, it took a lot of trial and error. It took a lot of research as well. But people started noticing his LinkedIn, people started noticing the content that he puts out, and people started like DMing him, asking him like, oh, so I've read about the stuff that you do, it's really interesting, can you help me in this and that area? So about the end of our 1-year contract, he actually managed to get 5 to 7 mentees for a paid mentorship program. And that, of course, that was throughout 1 year of nurturing his content, nurturing his audience, and posting a lot of content. And on top of the mentorship program, he managed to be seen. He actually got seen as one of the industry leaders in Singapore for his own industry, and he was invited to different speaking events as well. So that was 1 whole year of my experience with LinkedIn. Of course, that was a few years back. So what did I learn actually from this whole journey? Firstly, most people are using LinkedIn wrong. I started off the same as everyone, thinking that LinkedIn is just a job-seeking tool. And I don't need it until I graduate, until I need to find a job, and then I use it. Once I land a job, no need LinkedIn, and then if I want to change jobs, LinkedIn again. So that's my understanding of it. So, but after 3 years of working on, of being on LinkedIn, I compiled like 3 very common myths that people believe when it comes to LinkedIn. The first one being LinkedIn is for job seekers. And in reality, LinkedIn is actually for opportunity seekers. So coming back to the story I was telling you guys about the client just now. So the first thing he did was he managed to build a very strong network on LinkedIn just from posting content, from connecting with people. People started noticing him. People in his industry or people in other industries that wanted to pivot into his industry started noticing him. And he managed to build a really strong network from there. And from there, he actually met up with people, had coffees with them. Some of them went on to become his mentees, which is the third point, getting customers or collabs. So he actually got mentees and different speaking events as well. And lastly, there's also a lot of job opportunities on LinkedIn. So this is a personal experience of mine. So after I started working on my client's profile, I realized, okay, LinkedIn is actually really powerful. So I started posting content. And what I noticed was that when I started posting about how people can be using LinkedIn, some LinkedIn tips, some content creation tips, what happened was people started reaching out to me for different job opportunities. I was being reached out by like companies asking me whether I'm interested in a social media manager position. I was still a student at the time. I was still a full-time student at the time. And I was being reached out for these kind of opportunities. And some were reaching out for like customer services. They said that, oh, we've noticed that you've been talking a lot about like servicing customers as well. So this could be something that you're interested in. So I started getting these opportunities as well. So myth number 2, LinkedIn is a professional platform that should be taken seriously. This is something I see very often. People would go onto LinkedIn and they would speak in a way that's very different from how they usually speak. They would expect that, okay, so because this is a professional platform, I need to be sharing about what happened at work, the awards that I got, the achievements that I got, and stuff like that. But reality is, LinkedIn is another social media platform. So LinkedIn actually has close to 1 billion users. So can you imagine if everyone is just talking about, oh, I achieved this, I achieved that. Would there actually be 1 billion users? I think not. So what I observed that people actually love love consuming on LinkedIn is personal stories. So success stories, failure stories, stories about like how an entrepreneur started a business, went 200,000 into debt, and how they overcame that and became a successful entrepreneur. Stories like this really inspire people. And secondly, your learning and growth journey. So if you guys are a Gen Z and you don't really have a business or anything yet, and you don't intend to, that's perfectly fine. You could be sharing your growth journey as well. Like fresh grad going into corporate 3 months, what can I talk about? Like what can I share with people? There will be people who are behind you in their journey that can learn a lot from you as well. And thirdly, your thoughts on different topics. So let's say you're a tech developer. What are your thoughts on AI, for example? It's all the rage right now, right? ChatGPT, what can you talk about for this kind of stuff? People will want to listen to you because you're an expert in this topic. Okay, and then myth number 3, my LinkedIn profile is where I document my professional achievements and experiences. So this is actually a really big one that I've also personally observed running my own company at WACT. So one thing that we do at my company when we want to hire people is that we will usually ask them for their LinkedIn profile links. And something that we observed is that there's 3 types of people. The first type, they would just say, oh, I have no LinkedIn profile, submit. No profile at all. And then that's about like 30% of people. And then about 60% of them, they will have a LinkedIn link. And when they send it to you, when you open it, they have a picture, no banner, a very simple headline, and just listing titles. Oh, I graduated psychology in what university? I had this internship at what company? And that's it, nothing else. And then there's going to be a 10% of them. When you click onto their LinkedIn link, they have everything very nice. They have a profile picture. They have a profile picture. They have a nice banner, and they have their education, their work experiences, and listing in clear detail, like the descriptions of what they did. So, from my experience, of course, it gives people different impressions right off the bat. Like when the company asks for a LinkedIn link and you don't even have one, versus when you have one but it's empty, and when you have one and it's very nicely managed, it gives people a different impression. So your LinkedIn profile is actually also your personal brand, and it's not just in that sense. But let's say today you have a very nice profile, and you're applying for, let's say, a PR specialist role that requires you to talk to people, requires you to talk to journalists. You're going to be very media-facing, so to speak. And your profile picture is like the one on the top there. So a guy who looks very fierce, very straight to the point, no bullshit kind of guy. And just generally, it doesn't look very approachable. Versus if you had a picture that looks like on the bottom left, I think. Yeah, bottom left. He's a more friendly guy. Right off the bat, you can see he's all smiles and very approachable. Who would get the PR specialist role, right? So that first impression matters as well. Even though we say don't judge a book by the cover, but that's the first impression that you give to a recruiter. And same thing when you want to apply for like a tech developer role. A profile picture probably doesn't matter as much. Yeah, so it's the same thing. So your LinkedIn profile is actually your personal brand. So to summarize, 3 facts about LinkedIn. Fact number 1, LinkedIn is for opportunity seekers. The more you use LinkedIn, the more opportunities will come to you. Fact number 2, LinkedIn is a social media platform. So people want to hear stories. They don't want to just hear about what awards that you've achieved and stuff like that, because there is actually a term called humble bragging on LinkedIn, where it's about people just posting about, oh, I got promoted, I got a pay raise and everything. And they try to angle it in a way that's very humble, but it still makes people feel like, oh, you're just here to brag about it. So LinkedIn is a social media platform. Use it socially. Don't use it to, just promote good things about you. And fact number 3, your LinkedIn profile is a personal brand. I think this is something that you guys also understand. So we talk so much about LinkedIn. So what does it mean to really share our journey on LinkedIn? So if you guys have been on LinkedIn, even for 10 minutes just scrolling, I'm sure you would have seen posts that go something like this. Happy to announce that I'll be starting a new position at X company. Or happy to share that I finally graduated thanks to my teacher, thanks to my lecturers, my family. Or something like, my journey with Y company is coming to an end. Thank you for all the opportunities. Looking forward to what's coming ahead. Yeah. So is this really part of sharing your journey? Yes and no. Yes, because it is part of your journey. No, because these are actually more like milestones instead of part of your journey. And these milestones don't happen very often. So does that mean that after posting good things about these milestones, you just stop posting? No, not really. So part 3, I'm going to share with you guys more about getting started on LinkedIn. So first thing to understand when you guys start on LinkedIn is to figure out what do you want to be known for. And this is a lot of self-inflection. So what are you passionate about? Like, what's something that you can do for hours and hours? What motivates you in life, in your career? What topics can you spend hours to talk about? And above all that, if you're going to share something on LinkedIn, who would be the beneficiary from your sharings? So these are some questions to guide you guys when you first start on your LinkedIn. And then once you kind of get like what you want to do, let's say you want to be a social entrepreneur, you want to do stuff that empowers women, you want to do stuff that helps refugees, give them quality education, for example, you can choose an angle and position for yourself. So are you going to come from an angle of a coach? Are you going to come from an angle of a learner, an advocate? Because all of this determines what kind of content you're going to put on LinkedIn. So let's say if you choose to be a social entrepreneur, then you're probably going to come from an advocate angle. You're going to be sharing content about how you visited like this town and this refugee town, and what did you learn from it, and what do you want to do to help these people and stuff like that. So choose an angle and position for yourself. And then the next thing you're going to do after you figure out your identity, like what do you want to be known for, is to build up your personal brand. So like I mentioned earlier, your LinkedIn profile is going to be your personal brand. So a few tips when it comes to setting up your LinkedIn profile for the first time. A profile picture is very important, and not just any picture that you find about yourself, but it has to be a picture of yourself only, in the picture and no one else, no one in the background, no one from the side that you cropped out, just you. And it has to be quite close up and you can clearly see the face. So no pictures of the side of your face because it's very important. It's the first impression that you give to people, and usually people will see it not from the profile itself, they will see it from the feed. So your picture is really small. So if your face is really small or if your face is on the side, they can't see your face. So that is going to be the first impression. So be sure to only have a picture of yourself only, and it has to be quite close up. And then the second thing to take note is to have a banner. A lot of people overlook this, or they just put like, a scenery picture for their banner. But the banner is the first thing that people see when they land onto your profile because of how big it is and how eye-catching it is. So we typically advise our clients or anyone in general, when they want to choose a banner, try inserting a one-liner that summarizes in 3 seconds what you do. People instantly land on your profile, they instantly see your banner, and they understand, okay, so from the one-liner, I can see that, oh, this person builds Asia's top thought leaders. So what does this person do? In 3 seconds, very quickly, let them know. And then the rest would be having a clear headline, sharing about what you do, and your education, your company. Make sure to have details about it. And not just, I worked at X company, I designed 50 posters, but what results you gained from it. I designed 50 posters and helped generate like 30,000 in views, for example. Make sure to be specific about the results that you got. And then the next thing you could do is to build your network. So after you already know how you want to be known for, and you've already applied that onto your profile, the next thing you want to do is to build a network of like-minded people. So coming back to the social entrepreneur example, you want to empower children, refugee children with education, with free education. So who would you want to connect with? Firstly, you might want to connect with other social entrepreneurs because social entrepreneurship is quite tough. And there's going to be a lot of times when you want to give up. So you want to reach out to these social entrepreneurs and ask them, how have you been doing this? Like, what can we do? How can we work together to collab maybe? And then maybe you also want to connect with investors because as a social entrepreneur, you need funding. And you might also want to connect with, volunteers who can help you as well. So make sure that you build the right connections. And from there, their connections will also be exposed to you, and you can expand your network like that. So the third one is to make sure you add value and share experience. So this comes to content on LinkedIn, making sure that you post content in line with what you want to be known for. So as a social entrepreneur, you could be posting about you visiting refugee children and seeing that, oh, they're actually very bright and very brilliant children, and I wish there was more opportunities for them to have education, for example. Just posting this kind of content to make people aware about it, make people aware about the mission that you're on. Yeah. And yeah, so increase your likelihood of getting lucky. This is something that I'm sure you guys have also heard before about how people would say, I actually got lucky landing this job because I applied. I didn't think I would get it, but I actually got it. So people will always attribute things like this to luck, like good things to them to luck. But is it really luck? Or is it because you did something that triggered a chain of events that made that good thing happen? So the whole point here is to increase your chances of being lucky by doing the things that could get you that luck that you want. So coming back to content creation, of course, if you post 5 pieces of content and you see that, oh, I only got 2 likes each, you're going to want to give up because nothing is happening, nothing is changing, no one is noticing it. But the whole point about this thing is being consistent about posting it until one day someone would see it. And when someone sees it, they share it, and someone shares it, and it triggers a whole chain of events. So content creation is something that people struggle with because they cannot make it consistent. They struggle to make it consistent. So that's a point that I wanted to highlight here as well. So I'm coming to the end of my sharing, so I just want to end with this. Being good at what you do isn't enough because you knowing what you're good at versus people knowing what you're good at are 2 different things. So if you want to, you're an employee today, and you want to, let's say you're here and you want to reach somewhere higher, you need to make sure that people know. People know the skills that you have, that you're good at what you do. And how do you do that? You can start with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is something that's free, and it's easy to start. And once you're on LinkedIn, start posting content, letting people know about your journey, share with them. It doesn't have to be you sharing about your expertise all the time. It could also be you sharing the failures that you had and what did you learn from them, and slowly just letting more people know about you as well. So yeah, so that's about it for my sharing today on LinkedIn. Of course, I'm on LinkedIn, so if you guys have any questions, if you guys want to start on LinkedIn and you don't know how, feel free to reach out to me. Here's my QR code as well. So if you guys want to get connected, feel free. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lizzie. Thank you so much. It's very insightful to hear what you have to say about LinkedIn, and also maybe we can all do some personal branding as well. So actually, Lizzie, do you mind if I have you on the stage once again? All right, no worries. Yep. So thank you so much for the speech. Very inspiring. So as a token of appreciation, we actually have a couple of car stickers here.
Oh, okay.
All right, from the team, from the marketing team and everything. So there are 2 codes that might relate to some or maybe more of us employees and whatnot. I'm going to read it to you. So you can get one, whichever one that you prefer or relate to more. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is 20% of my job is driving to the office. It does relate to some of us, like morning jams after work. There is jam as well.
Can't relate.
Maybe can relate to the second one, which is stop. I don't get paid enough to fix my car. You know, like when you in a jam, someone driving too fast right behind you, you should ask them to stop. Don't hurt my car. All right.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
All right. So I gotta say, I relate more to the first one then.
First one?
I do have like sales meeting sessions that I go out for. Yeah.
And traveling.
Yeah.
Although it's
Even
good.
though I don't go to the office.
That's true.
You work from home.
Traveling.
Yeah.
Traveling. All right. Here you go.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Lizzie. Thank you so much again. If you guys want to connect with Lizzie, remember she's on LinkedIn. You scan the QR code. It will be left on screen for a while. Thank you so much, Lizzie.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.